Brian Galke
Yeah.
speaking at Impact Effect 23. Let's go. I'm fired up, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm super excited to have you and learn a little bit more about you and share it with our community
Mhm.
and the impact that you're going to bring to the conference in October. I'm just so excited. Thank you for being here, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. October 27th can't come soon enough.
Let's go. Let's go. So I just wanted to chat with you a little bit today, so people can learn a little bit more about you, your
Mhm.
history, some of the things that you've done, accomplishments. Can you just share a little bit about your background with us?
Absolutely. So I'm basically an introverted extrovert, meaning I like to be around people, but I was terrified to be around people at the exact same time. So growing up, I always picked careers that people had to come to me because I didn't know how to go to them. So I worked retail. I was a bouncer. I was a bartender. I was a bar back. I worked ladies' shoes. I was Al Bundy's when I when I worked retail. And then even when I got into computers, because I got, oh, look, then I joined the help desk. Why? Because people, once again, had to come to me. And what really changed my life is what we're going to talk about today. And that's in 2010. I had a fluke circumstance where I met an individual who taught me the skill that absolutely changed my life. Now, there's a lot of skills, that have helped me over time, but we're going to talk about the number one skill that changed my life and what we're going to be teaching everybody on the 27th.
Amazing, man. Amazing. So that goes exactly with our theme of the
Mhm.
conference, right? One of the most important things, and when my life changed, it was one conversation.
Absolutely.
So we believe, you're one conversation away from changing the trajectory of your life.
Mhm.
So tell us about that one conversation that changed your life, Brian.
Sure. So it actually started off poorly. And what I mean by that is I had a friend, she was coming in town for a trade show and she said, hey, let's go to dinner. I show up to the restaurant. I order a drink while I'm waiting on her. And she calls, she's like, hey, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, oh, here we go. And she's like, no, it's not what you think. She's like, I need you to come over to the conference. I said, no, I was being stubborn. I said, I'm where I said I would be at the time I said I'd be here. This is kind of not working in my favor here. And she's like, no, you need to come over and meet this guy. And I said, why do I need to come over and meet this guy? She goes, oh, because he reads faces. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let me rush over there for that. And I said no a few times. And she's like, no, trust me, you need to come meet Mac. And I said, all right, finally, I'm like, fine, I'll go over there. But my intent was to go over there to blow holes in this guy because I'd never heard of it, right? And I've read books on NLP, body language, how to win friends and influence people. And never in my life have I heard of face reading, AKA physiognomy. So I was all loaded up, right? I was going to go in, prove this guy wrong. I was waiting for generic, like if you know what a Barnum statement is, it's something that's so generic it can apply to anyone. Like, oh, you've had a hard time in life, or oh, you know
Yep.
somebody whose name starts with M, right? So I went in, locked, loaded. I'm going to get this guy. And he won me over because there were 6 people sitting around the dinner table, maybe it was 8. And he broke everyone down to a T, including me. And he didn't
Wow.
say, these generic things that applied. He picked specific things about our faces that told him a little bit about us. And I was instantly hooked. I'm like, well, wait. Why have I never heard this? How does this work? How do I learn it? Because it was the first proactive skill that I've ever seen. You and
Wow.
I both know Janine Driver. I keep a copy of her book right here because I think everybody needs a copy of it. And so I've got body language books, everything else, like I mentioned. But this was the first proactive skill that I'd ever run across, where as soon as you meet someone, or you can go to LinkedIn or social media, and before you ever have to meet with the person, you figure out, what do we have in common? How do they take in and process information? And so what I could do is I could start changing things from how I want to say it to how they best receive it. And it
It's
was
amazing.
a game changer for me. Once I learned this is what took me from help desk to regional vice president of sales, was because when I learned to focus on other people, I got on my own way, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I I didn't know this,
Yeah.
which is absolutely freaking crazy to me because what I just heard from you is although you didn't go to a conference, you got pulled into a conference to an event and one conversation changed your life. I
Absolutely.
also heard that a friend invited you in
Mm-hmm.
and that changed your life.
Correct.
So again, it just goes with our exact theme of you're one conversation away from changing the trajectory of your life. And for you specifically, that was at a conference and at an event.
Correct.
Which is exactly how we believe. We believe that coming to this event, putting yourself in the room, the power of proximity, right? Us curating the room is making it higher odds for you to have really powerful, game-changing, life-changing conversations. So I just think it's absolutely amazing. Like this, you are the example of what we're trying to portray and to build and to amplify. It's amazing.
And I'll take it a step further. It's not that I just got introduced to Mac. It's that I went and followed up and I was able to ask him questions. And that's what's really unique about Impact Effect 23, right? Is that people can come back and ask Q&A. So it's not a one and done where they come in, they learn, and they leave. And that's, that's what's so different about the event. And that's what's really attractive to me about being a speaker at your event is it's not a one-time appearance. Because the thing is, you want people to take the information, test out the information, and then come back and ask questions. That's when people are dangerous in a good way, is because when they've gone out and they've tried it, they've tested it, and now they have questions that they're really trying to learn the information. Because
that's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. Our whole reasoning for strategically doing that is exactly what you just said. I believe you come to a conference, a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, you learn a bunch of knowledge, you have massive action items, you go, you run through those walls, you make shit happen, right? Yep. Like, and then you get stuck, right? And you hit a barrier. And the whole purpose of the follow-up for post-conference events, we call them post-conference lifelines.
Yes.
Because you can come back and you're not paying more money. You don't have to buy coaching. Come back and see Brian and go, Brian, I tried this and this and this happened. And what about this? And hey, man, this occurred. And this was with my boss, or this was with my wife, or this was with my son or my daughter. Right. And Brian has an opportunity to impact you directly into your life because you now know the question to ask and you now know the barrier you're looking to break down.
Absolutely.
You're getting me fired up, brother. Like it's so powerful to me. And I love the fact that you think the same way, right. And you're going to be speaking, you're going to be driving the knowledge,
Yes. And I'm a seminar junkie. You and I have talked in the past. One of the things that I'm a little bit different about a speaker is one of the reasons I became a speaker so I could get in the room. So I actually have that. I've got my own little phrase over here. And what was my word and phrase for 2024 or 2023 was get in the room. Because it used to be, I want to be on stage. But getting on stage is only sharing information. Getting in the room is learning information at the exact same time.
I love it.
And everything is about repetition, right? So that's how any skill gets better is you first have exposure, and then it's repetition is what leads to skill set. And that's what you're providing here is when there's so many good speakers, and there's going to be so many good speakers here. Janine and I, here's what ours, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say it yet or not, but it's read the face, then read the room. And so what you're going to be able to learn is how do I look at somebody proactively, and then how do I pay attention when I'm in there as to how things are going? And that's really a skill set in itself because you can go and prepare for your meetings. And then when you're in there, you've already prepared, you figured out how do I speak their language, and then you're paying attention to how are they receiving the information? What do I need to address? And that's what's going to be kind of the 1-2 punch with what we're going to be teaching.
Man, the synergies, I literally, in my brain, I was like, that sounds like a 1-2 knockout. And you go 1-2 punch. So I'm super excited. I mean, the level of detail that you and Janine go into, the research, the examples, the real life scenarios, the interactive with the attendees. Like, I'm just so excited because you guys do put on a show. Like you do, you put on an amazing show. It's interactive. It's real life. It's back and forth. And that was so important to me when I was building this thing, because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, we can get 10 speakers up there and they can drop bombs. Right. But that's a lot in one day, man. Like that's a lot. So how do we bring in the right speakers with different concepts that flow with each other? Right. Because we've got Jamie Miller coming in and he's talking about the art of conscious communication verbally, right? What words you use and what you say and how to choose them. And then it flows in with, the proactiveness and then the reactive when you're in the room. And it's just, I'm just excited. Like,
Right.
I think we've got the masters of communication, and it all rolls up together. And I'm just through the roof, man. I'm so excited to have you guys.
Well,
So excited.
what I'll encourage everyone to do is what I did. When I found out who the other speakers were, I went and added them all on social media. Right now, I already know Coach Bird, but the other speakers I wasn't familiar with, I went and added them, said, hey, I'm going to be speaking with you at the event. And I started following their content. Why? Because I want to know as much about them when they're there. So I'm just there to learn more than just show up and go, oh, who's that new person? You have the advanced knowledge right now. When you look on the site, you see who the speakers are. Go and add us all on social media. I did that. I'm a product of that because that's how you learn about people. So you're just advancing your knowledge when you're at the event.
So guys and girls, right there, you've got Brian Galke telling you what he does in his world, his life for professional development. And he's on the stages. He's on the stages y'all want to be on. We all want to be on. So, keep into account how important that is about building relationships and how important that is about consuming the right content and going out there and getting it right. Always learning, being in the room, showing up. One of the concepts that I was talking about on the live yesterday, Brian, was the fact that I'm so passionate about this that I just want you to show up. Like, if you think, if you get in the room and you come up to me and you tell me that this thing sucks, it's not what you wanted, it's not going to move the needle, it's not going to impact you, like, I'm happy to give you all your money back.
Right.
Because I wholeheartedly believe in this. And I've spent so much time and intention to the detail, to the speakers, to the flow, to the lineup. But the reality of it is you've got to show up, you've got to invest in yourself, and you've got to put yourself in those rooms.
Right.
And look at you as example. You show to that conference, you follow up, you dive deeper with that mentor, you change your whole life, and now you're on stages giving back, right? And that's the other concepts within the conference is how can we communicate more so we can sell more, so we can help more people, and then ultimately give more. Right.
Well, going back to the word impact, there's two ways impact works, right? How can something impact me, and how can I make an impact on other people? That's why it's such a versatile word. And I like the fact that you name the company and the events that, because that's what it's really about. It's not learning is something you do, but you're not taking action doing things with. Impact is it meant something to me, or I can help make that impact on someone else. And that's the real win-win of things. I don't know if you've ever read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I highly recommend that book. It's in all my talks. I'll probably be talking about when we're in Nashville. But when people learn to focus on more than themselves, that's where happiness comes from. That's where that survival instinct comes in. So in the book, not to give it all away, but he was a doctor, went through a concentration camp. And what he found was the people who just said, oh, I'm going to survive for me tend to perish. But the people who said, I want to see my wife again, I want to see my parents again, I want to see my grandparents again, they survived inhumane conditions to make it out because they were driven to see or do more for others. And when we do that, we're able to accomplish more than we can when we're just self-focused.
It's amazing. Amazing. And you've got to take the action. You've got to execute, right? And that's why in our workbook that we give everybody a journal, a nice journal to take notes in, a nice pen, but we also have a structured workbook that we give you. And we have each speaker. And in each speaker, we're going to have a little bio about you. But we were going to ask you, what are your 3 action items for that speaker, right? Take all your notes in the journal, but put your action items in the workbook, because we want that workbook to live with you and come back for those events so we can track and hold accountability and make an impact, right? You've got to execute, you've got to take action. And you can do that, like you said, in 2 ways. You can implement and execute in your business, or you can share knowledge and wisdom and help others execute and share in their business.
Well, that's the reason I named the company Subtle Skills, is what everybody's going to be learning. They don't have to tell anybody what they're doing, but if they want to, they can, right? So that was the entire reason I named the company Subtle Skills.
I like it. Subtle with a B.
Yes. Subtle with a B, yeah. There you go. Subtle Skills. Yes.
Well, so you were chatting a little bit about that book, and you may bring it up and share. I'd love for you to give a sneak peek of some things that you're going to be chatting about.
Sure. So let me see if I can add this in here. There we go. All right. So what's the worst that people are going to be able to walk away with is how to get free things and how to get like upgrades on hotels and airfare. I do this all the time. So what we're going to be teaching is by learning to pay attention to other people, there's a win-win there. There's 4 basic human needs, right? Physical safety, emotional safety. People want to feel seen and heard, and people want to feel connected. Well, I can't help you with the first 2, but we're going to be teaching everyone about the second 2. And the thing about it is, when you start to treat people like people, you take care of them and they want to take care of you. So that's why I put on here, look, you're going to learn how to get free upgrades, free food and drink, just by teaching people this skill if you want to. But even if you go, like the common theme right now is, oh, let's go to Starbucks and buy the next person's coffee because that'll make a difference. It does, don't get me wrong. But what if you treated the barista like a person and you spent time to create a connection with them? What happens is it creates a ripple effect, and everybody after you gets good service, not just the next person to get free coffee. But that's just the beginning of what we're going to teach. Really what this
Funny
is.
you say that, Brian. Yeah. I was traveling to a speaking event that I was speaking at in North Carolina, and I was in the airport, and there was a huge line at Shake Shack, and I was like, I never eat Shake Shack. I'm going for it, right? I was starving.
Right.
And I watched the woman. She was having a tough time. It was busy. And I just talked to her like a human. You know, hey, what's happening? How you doing? Like, it's crazy busy. You're crushing it. What are you drinking in that drink? Like, is that lemonade? Did you put anything else in that lemonade? You're smiling. You're happy, right? And I just changed the trajectory. I didn't use your set of skills, but just by bringing different energy.
Yep.
I watched the ripple effect for the 10 people behind me. She was so much nicer. She was talking to people. She was fired up. She was happy. So I only imagine with just a little bit of energy burst from Jim Morris, you see a ripple effect. I can only imagine with your skills and what you're going to teach us, how big of that ripple effect will really be true. In addition to just me being energetic and, you know, hey, this woman's struggling. Let me throw some pep in the step. You know, I've lived it, but I'm even more excited once I learn these skills from you to really have a ripple effect.
It is, and it's about empathy, especially servers. And you're going to see this. I talk about the best place to practice what you're going to learn is servers. Why? Right now, most places are understaffed. People aren't showing up for work. And we kind of forgot how to be respectful for servers. You know, there's a lot of places I'll go and I'll watch somebody will have the menu up. They're like, yeah, okay. They don't even look at the server when they're telling them what they're ordering. And I grew up, I mentioned before, I waited tables. I've worked the service industry. I've worked retail. I understand what those pain points are. And if we can give back to those people who are helping to take care of us, it doesn't matter what service they're providing, checking at the hotel, airport. When's the last time you saw somebody be nice to the gate agent, right? They're mad because like somehow they control the weather and the pilots and the flight attendants and everybody else. And it's just not them. So when you start just treating people with the same respect that you would want to be treated with, it just changes lives.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And you're going to see a repetitive theme here. I'm a huge Batman fan, right? So I got Batman stuff everywhere. But
why are you a huge Batman fan, Brian?
Because you know he's in there, but he wasn't born with the superpower. Yes, he's rich, but it was all the different skills he's learned is what made him who he is. Cool. And that's kind of how we all are. Is we're kind of born and we pick up skills that help us in life, and that's why I say this is not the tool; it's a tool to use. So you can use what I teach in conjunction with what Janine's going to teach. Right? Along with what other people are going to say. It's just another tool to add to your tool set to help you achieve your goals. And that's the really cool part about it is a lot of people get up and talk about, well, my stuff is only, you need my, no, it's just part to help take something from every one of the speakers because everybody's going to be dropping nuggets of something that can apply to you. It's like picking up a book. Not every page is important, but if you hit an idea that sticks with you and resonates with you, add that to the rotation. And this skill is no different.
Totally.
So what are we going to talk about? Look, people are often confusing. We're harder to understand. What makes you want to beat your head against the wall? Why is that? Well, you know, things have changed over time. It's just one of those things of we spent just the last few years have been confusing and we're not always sure how to talk to people. But where are they going to be able to use this skill? Leads, prospects, growing your business, interacting with staff. This is a big one. It's I think, $7.2 trillion issue of unhappy staff leaving right now. And the top causes of it are they feel poor communication with leadership, and not being treated as a person. So you can use these skills with people you just meet. You can enhance existing relationships and even business partnerships, right? Who are the vendors that you work on things with? Who are your day-to-day people that you need to build rapport with, from new customers, existing customers, your own staff, right? People you have to do work with to stay in business, and even your own friends and family. That's the cool thing about this. Where have we taught this before? Door-to-door sales, roofing, automotive, all things that people walk in, that this can be used proactively. And we're going to talk about that live when we're there, but it also can be used reactively. Is what we're going to teach you, something that you can just that fast look at a few features and go, okay, I understand this person a little bit. And I'll go ahead and give a little bit of a teaser. But the reason that when I'm teaching this, I teach eyebrows is because eyebrows lead to eye contact. In this day and age where we're so distracted by smartphones and smart watches, it's a lost art. And when you really focus on other people and you try to build rapport with other people, they can feel that. We all know when somebody's being sincere or when they're being insincere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's pretty evident. It's more evident than ever in a world of video and content and reels.
Oh,
you know, like, I don't know about you, Brian, but like, I do a lot of video, but I can see when someone isn't sincere on video nowadays. Like, I'm like, that concept may be great, but I don't know if they're reading off a teleprompter, their brain's just not there, the energy, it's not connected. I don't know. But I'm like, that just doesn't feel real. It feels like just like you're reading off, like, Yeah.
Hi.
They're not doing that, right? They're not doing that, but
well, some are, right? You can tell when you're on a webinar or something, if somebody's like, oh, and John from Dallas, Texas just joined. It's like, okay. Yeah, so that's a big thing. I have a friend, this is kind of off topic, but he loves to go to evergreen webinars and just type random things into the chat to prove that they're not live. And so we can pick up, and when people are insincere or you get incongruency in people, that's when trust is lost.
Totally.
So if you're going to do evergreen webinars, it's fine, but just say, hey, this was previously recorded. It's just people are smarter than they used to be on so many fronts that really there's no purpose in creating a falsehood, because when you do that, it's easy to find out what you're really like. So why waste the time? Totally. Kind of going back to this.
Feel good. But anyways, keep going. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't feel good. So you brought up a good point. I was thinking about this in my head when you were talking about at Shake Shack. She could tell if you were just trying to suck up versus treat her like a person, right? You said you saw she was having a bad day. You thought, hey, what would cheer me up? I'm going to treat her like I would want to be treated. We all can feel when somebody's actually being nice to us, or when somebody's feigning being nice to us because they want something. Commission breath. If somebody's trying to, I'll give you you probably run into this on a regular basis. The current method of trying to get someone to hire them for video services, go to my Instagram, like 3 or 4 posts, put it in something that said, hey, I sent you DM. And then it's this typical thing. Hey, I love your content. I'd love to work with you. And then they'll put in there, so what do you do and how long have you been in business? I'm like, you're coming to me. If you're coming to me, you should know about me, right? But you can tell that's their cold DM approach. And that instantly just repels us because it doesn't feel like it's personalized. Totally. And that's one of the problems that's out there. So
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Where else is this used? Real estate, jury consulting. So I learned this from attorneys who learned it for jury consulting. It goes all the way back to the Greeks, and it's taught for jury consulting. But my mentor left the law profession because he thought, you know what? Law is good, but being able to understand other people and teach this to other people, it's changing lives. And he changed my life. And in 2019, I reached out to him and said, I want to start studying this again. And I want to really get back into it. And I did. And this is what I do now. I'm a full-time speaker, trainer, consultant on teaching other people how to build rapport with other people in their lives, because there's nothing more important than other people. Titles, things, monetary value, that's good. But people is really what we need in our life. If you don't believe that, look at what we do to punish somebody. We put them in solitary confinement because we know that's the worst punishment, is to not be around other people. And yes, it can be used in the dating world. So during the pandemic, I created a simple course because I was so tired of people going, hey, what does this face say? And what does this face say? So it's kind of funny where it can be used. So we talked earlier, like, how's the world changed? We spent 1.5 to 2 years. Some people spent longer than that, just hidden inside their house, right? Afraid to go outside. They may have had a health issue. They may have lived in a city that they couldn't go out. So we learned to have a distrust for people. We forgot how to control our own body language and how to interact with people. Like, how awkward were conversations at first when you're back to in person? Like, things have changed. You know, I still think people haven't remembered how to drive, because I swear there's more accidents than there ever were before. But just like you and I are on StreamYard today, or you can be on Zoom, you can only see this much real estate. And so while there are other skills, and like the things that Janine's going to teach, you can still pick up micro expressions and things that are going on with shoulders and body. But we see a lot more real estate with faces now than we ever have. That's why this skill is more prevalent than it's ever been, because we're not in the rooms. We're not going to conference rooms. We're doing a lot of things. People are working from home now. And so this is why the skill is even more valuable. And I put the picture in below. This one's been in my presentation for a while. It has nothing to do with current concerns. When I was at going to Seattle for Thanksgiving last year, about 40% of the people in the airport were wearing a mask. Well, even with this much real estate, you can still figure out, how do people take in information? How do people process information? And how should I deliver the news? Should I talk about the pros? Should I talk about the cons? Even with just this much real estate, you can still learn a ton about other people. And kind of one of the last things we'll talk about here is the early on mistake that I made, most salespeople make, most entrepreneurs make, is we make it all about our needs and what we want. So if you look at the first picture, the person on the left, when they're looking at clear and they know that they're focused on themselves, AKA commission breath, the other people aren't paying attention, because people know when you're making it about you versus making it about us. So that's the difference between the picture on the left and the picture on the right, is when you're trying to figure out, how do I work with other people? Am I putting this in a way, in a term that they would understand, instead of how just I understand things? That's when you build rapport. That's when you build relationships. And what they say is rapport leads to relationships, and businesses are built on those relationships. So
I love it, man. I love it. You're getting me fired up. I'm excited, man. Especially with, I know when we did a quicker training, and when we were getting introduced and went through it, like, my mind was blown. And that was only like an hour, and it was really more explaining what you did. So I'm excited, because I know when you're coming in to speak at Impact Effect 23, like, you're coming in with the heat, and you're going to be doing and teaching and diving right into it. So I'm just super excited to continue to learn from you, Brian. I'm excited. We've got you and Janine Driver coming, and Jamie Miller. I think that's the real combo knockout between communication and how to effectively use it and build those relationships. So I'm excited, man. Anything else you want to share with us? Anything else?
I think what you put together is amazing. I looked at the venue. It's a fantastic spot. The idea that VIPs will get more interaction with us, I think that's a good thing too, right? Because it's one thing, you're going to get exposure, but the interaction, and I mentioned this before, everybody who's coming needs to go and add the different speakers so you can understand, what are you stepping into? So what do you want to take away from it at the time? You know, so that's what I do before I go to any event. I go look who the speakers are, not when are they speaking, but who are they? What do I want to learn from them? What can I learn from them before I ever show up to the event? So I'm just excited to be there.
Awesome, man. We're excited to have you, brother. Thanks for spending some time with us today. And we'll see you on October 27th at Impact Effect 23. If you haven't gotten your tickets, grab them at impacteffect23.com. They're selling super fast. We just actually brought in some amazing people in the audience. So not only do we have amazing speakers like Brian and Janine and Coach Burt and Tiffany Napper and Jamie Miller, Tim Story is going to be there, but we also have amazing people that are going to be in the room looking to give, looking to grow, and looking to help each other and build relationships. So I'm just super excited. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for coming to Impact Effect 23 in October, and also those follow-up events. You know, Brian's going to be coming back in April as well for Q&A and a little refresher and things like that. So thank you, brother. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a great day.